18 years away, and the ocean still remembered him. So did his family, with a crown, an ultimatum, and a bride already picked out. Lakan had one problem. All he could think about was Leah. The descent into the ocean felt like falling through memory. Lakan's dragon form cut through the water in smooth, powerful strokes. Wings folded tight, tail driving him downward through layers of blue that deepened into indigo, then velvet dark where light fractured and bent. 18 years. He hadn't been underwater in 18 years. Not since the first time he'd glimpsed the Daughters of the Moon training on their mountain. Not since he decided the answers he sought lay on land, not in the depths. Yet the path was as familiar as breathing. Pressure wrapped around his scales like an old friend. Salt and magic soaked into him, sliding between scale and sinew as if the sea remembered him and had been waiting for his return. The ocean had changed in his absence, or perhaps he had simply forgotten how alive it was. Coral cities bloomed along the ocean floor, towering and luminous. Schools of clownfish darted through anemones like sparks. A massive sea turtle drifted past, ancient and unbothered, its shell scarred by centuries of survival. Above him, manta rays swept through the water like living wings, shadows passing over distant coral spires. Some creatures looked harmless. Many were not. Frogfish lay disguised as stone until prey drifted too close. Barracudas hovered in silver ranks, bodies taut as drawn blades, while a pod of dolphins arced overhead, sleek, intelligent, and deadly beneath their playful grace. The ocean taught its lessons quickly. Beauty and danger wore the same face. As Lakan went deeper, he noted the changes. New coral growth where old reefs had died. A sunken ship he didn't recognize, already claimed by barnacles and algae. He'd need to revisit his treasure cave soon. See what the currents had delivered in his absence. What relics and wonders waited to be claimed. He slowed, coiling slightly as he took it all in. He hadn't expected to miss this, but he did. The sea was where he had grown up, where the boy had become something else. Not quite man, not quite monster, something in between. This was where he learned that life could shatter without warning, that the world could fall from the sky in fire and ruin, where laughter could turn cruel, where weakness invited teeth and claws. He remembered the echo of mockery through narrow trenches, and the sting of retreat when he fled instead of fighting. This was where he learned to fight back, to become sharper, meaner when necessary, to wield darkness against darkness, and become the thing they feared. Not his proudest chapter, but power, respected power. This was also where his family had drawn closer after the fall, rebuilding what was broken, carving a kingdom from grief, salt, and stubborn survival. And now, the sea stirred around him. Currents shifted subtly. Schools parted not in fear but in acknowledgement. It felt like coming home. Something inside him loosened, a tightness he hadn't realized he carried. Maybe returning hadn't been such a terrible idea. Maybe... Ink exploded around him. Lakan snarled, twisting instinctively as massive shapes surged from the black cloud, tentacles snapping, hooks gleaming. Giant squids. One tentacle latched onto his wing, barbed suckers biting deep. Another whipped toward his eye. Lakan roared. His tail lashed out, smashing one squid aside hard enough to crack stone. Fire rippled along his scales, not the purple flame of kingship, but red gold dragon fire that burned even underwater, superheating the sea around him. The squids released him instantly, jetting away in violent bursts. Before he could reorient, something else struck from below. Massive, fast, teeth. A great white surged upward, jaw snapping shut just shy of his belly. Lakan twisted and slammed his tail into its gills. The shark recoiled, circling back, joined by two more. This wasn't right. Great whites didn't hunt dragons. Nothing this deep hunted dragons. Then the dolphins came, not curious, not playful, aggressive, ramming into him from multiple angles, using speed and coordination to disorient. Even a whale shark, a gentle giant, swam directly at him, forcing Lakan to veer sharply aside. He hovered in the water, watching the creatures circle. They weren't trying to kill him. They were testing him. Annoyance flared, then realization landed. There was only one creature in these waters arrogant enough, powerful enough, to orchestrate this.
Alan!
Lakan's roar echoed through the deep. The sea parted, and the dark prince of the southeast emerged. Alan looked exactly as Lakan remembered him, lean and bare-chested, dark hair streaming like a banner, his powerful tail scaled in shifting blues and silvers. His face was sharp, handsome and dangerous the way the sea itself was. In his hand he wielded a long spear tipped with glowing coral, runes pulsing in time with the tides.
Spawn of Laho. Heard you'd gone soft on land. Thought I'd see for myself. Still ugly, I see.
Lakan shot back, baring his fangs. Alan's grin widened.
And you're slower. Letting squids and sharks push you around? Embarrassing.
Lakan growled.
You want to test my speed? Come closer. With pleasure.
Alan moved like lightning. His spear flashed toward Lakan's flank. Lakan twisted, snapping with his jaws. But Alan was already gone, circling behind him. The siren bent the sea itself to his will, currents twisting into walls, water shaping into blades and barriers. Vortices slammed into Lakan's side, throwing him off balance. But Lakan had size, weight, raw ancient power, and dragon fire that could boil the ocean. They clashed in a storm of scales, teeth, and magic. Lakan's tail smashing through Alan's water columns. Alan's spear slipping between scales without quite finding purchase. The sea churned violently around them, a maelstrom born of two apex predators who'd been doing this dance for centuries. Lakan lunged and caught Alan's torso in his jaws, not biting down, just holding. Alan's spear pressed against the softer scales beneath Lakan's jaw. They froze, breathing hard, both grinning.
Yield?
Lakan asked with a mouthful of siren.
Never.
A beat. Then Lakan released him. Alan withdrew his spear.
You've grown weak. Too much time with humans. You've grown complacent.
Lakan countered.
Too much time lounging in your palace. Complacent? I led 3 successful raids last. I don't care about your raids. Of course you don't. Too busy playing scholar on land.
Alan's eyes gleamed.
What are you really doing up there, Bakunawa? The Regent's been sending messengers for years.
Lakan's jaw tightened.
Research. Sure.
Alan said, clearly unconvinced. Then his expression sobered.
But it's good you finally came back. Things are unsettled. What do you mean? The currents are restless. Creatures are behaving strangely, like something big is moving. Tell your warriors to prepare. Tell yours the same. Whatever's coming, it's coming for all of us.
They held each other's gaze. Rivals and almost friends, bound by history and salt. Alan smirked.
Try not to die before I get the honor. Try not to stab yourself.
Lakan shot back. Alan laughed and vanished into the depths. The Bakunawa Palace rose from the deep like a mountain of obsidian and pearl. It hadn't always looked like this. Before the fall, their palace had lived in the heavens, light and air and impossible beauty. This was darker, built from volcanic stone, coral and bone, reinforced with magic older than memory. But it was theirs. Guards nodded as Lakan passed, fists to hearts. Respect earned through centuries of standing his ground, protecting borders, and refusing to let shame break him. He tilted his head in greeting and glided through a wide corridor toward the throne room, where he knew his family, the court, waited. The same dragons who had killed their king to save the last moon. Uncle Bacchus, scales of deep blue, steady as stone. Aunt Lidagat, turquoise and calm. Sarmiento, indigo and wise. Kidlat, black as night with eyes that saw too much. The silver twins, Amihan and Habagat, moving in perfect sync. All of them watching him with expressions he couldn't quite read. Lakan bowed to each elder in turn. Each touched their forehead to his in blessing, a gesture that tightened his chest.
Nephew,
Bacchus said,
welcome home.
Thank you, Uncle. In 6 moon cycles, you will turn 1,000. If you have not accepted the crown by then,
We begin losing our immortality.
Lakan finished.
I know. We'll have lifespans like common fish. You've reminded me every decade for the past 5 centuries.
And yet you still run.
Sarmiento said.
I'm not running. I'm hiding
Kidlat supplied.
from your duty, from your fate. I will not be king until I restore our honor, until we fly the heavens again.
Why?
Lidagat asked.
Why does it matter so much?
Because they call us monsters, moon eaters. They blame us for every earthquake, every storm. They bang pots and pans as if we're mindless beasts to be chased away. The insult of it. Like we couldn't kill them all with a single breath of fire.
And that bothers you because?
Habagat prompted.
Because it's degrading.
Lakan surged upward, coiling restlessly.
We were, guardians of goddesses, judges of immortals. And now we're reduced to lesser beings hiding in shame underwater. I will not be king of a fallen race. I would rather cease to exist than be remembered forever as the spawn of Laho.
Silence fell.
lesser beings?
Bacchus echoed.
Do you truly believe we are less than we were?
We are cursed.
Are we not still among the strongest creatures above and below?
Amihan interrupted.
Don't we rule half the seas? Haven't we protected both worlds for millennia?
Our nature hasn't changed.
Habagat added.
Our purpose hasn't changed. We're still guardians. Still worthy.
It's not the same.
No, it's not.
Bakos agreed.
But worthy doesn't mean glorious, nephew. And fallen doesn't mean broken.
Lakan looked away, unable to meet their eyes.
You know what you're really afraid of.
Lidagat said.
I'm not. The purple fire.
The words landed like a blow. Lakan's throat closed.
That's why you work with Mayari,
Kidlat said. Not a question.
searching for a way to break the curse before you have to take the throne.
Lakan's head snapped up.
You knew? How?
Did you really think we'd leave you alone on land for 18 years without watching?
Bako's expression softened.
We've known for decades you were working with the moon goddess.
Something warm bloomed in Lakan's chest. His family. They'd never truly let him go.
Mayari has a plan. If I can just stop trusting the gods.
Sarmiento cut in sharply.
Their feuds are what destroyed your father. We're pawns in their games, Lakan. Best to remember that.
Mayari has been gracious to us.
Amihan countered.
She restored our forms, gave us back our strength, even if we cannot fly to the heavens. Which we don't want anyway.
Habagat added. Lakan stared.
How can you say that? You remember flying among the stars. And we remember the politics.
Sarmiento said.
The constant maneuvering. The guarding of every word. The weight of celestial duty. Life here is simpler. Simpler?
Lakan couldn't believe what he was hearing.
You're telling me you prefer being down here?
Did you ever consider that we might be happy as we are?
Amihan said.
Impossible.
Bakos floated forward.
You know why you're never happy, nephew? Because you're too proud to accept that there's nothing wrong with being less. There's beauty here. Freedom. We might be bound by the curse, but what being isn't bound by something? We can still choose our path. We've earned that right. And you especially have earned it. Release your guilt, your shame, and believe you are worthy of the crown.
Lakan's chest felt too tight. The elders exchanged glances.
We understand your fears
Lidagat said carefully.
about becoming like Laho. That's why we found you a solution.
What kind of solution?
A queen.
Bakos said, and Lakan's blood went cold.
To balance you. Someone strong enough to anchor you. Prevent the madness.
What?
Isabel,
Daughter of the Siren King.
Amihan said quickly.
The clans have discussed it. An arranged marriage would unite the seas against whatever threat is coming.
Alan's sister?
Lakan asked with growing horror.
She's not a true mate.
Sarmiento added, as if this were a selling point.
So you won't have to fear what happened to your father. No heart-scale bond to drive you mad.
she's beautiful,
Habagat chimed in.
strong, powerful magic, leads her own army, passionate about protecting the seas. She is perfect for you.
Amihan finished gently. Lakan couldn't breathe.
Perfect. They thought this siren princess was perfect. They didn't know. They couldn't know. Because Perfect had dark eyes and a Sampaguita scent, and moved like a living flame. Perfect had spent 5 days caring for a stranger. Perfect fought with mercy and killed without cruelty, and looked at the moon like it held all her dreams. Perfect was Leah.
Aloud, Lakan said,
No.
Lakan. Just no. But the Alliance. I said no!
His roar echoed through the throne room, silencing them all. His uncle's expression hardened.
Why? Give us one good reason.
Lakan met his eyes, then Lidagat's, then each of them in turn.
Because I found her.
Found who?
Kidlat asked.
Her name is Leah,
He swallowed.
my heartmate.
Shock rippled through the court. Lidagat's eyes narrowed.
How do you know she's truly your mate? Has she claimed your heart scale?
Actually, she stole it.
As soon as he said it, he knew he'd made a mistake. Amihan's head snapped toward him.
Stole it? Why?
No going back now, Lakan thought and sighed.
Because she's the first daughter of the moon, of Tribu Mayari.
Horror bloomed across Baku's face, the same horror Lakan had felt when they'd suggested an arranged marriage.
Are you telling us that you have a mate who wants to kill you and has just stolen your heart scale?
Lakan nodded once, and the throne room erupted.